Welcome back to another vlog. It's Monday, December 22nd. We are gearing up for Christmas right here. Check out the Christmas tree. But we're at my house. We're in the living room, and I've got a job to film here today. We're doing an interview for a builder. He wanted a really cozy backdrop, wanted things to look nice and homey, and I just said, come to my house, man. I'm in control of this environment. I can make it look how I want, and worked out perfect. We didn't have to pay any extra money, so he was happy. I didn't have to bill higher. It was great. So he's coming in about an hour. I'm gonna set up my camera, my lights, my mics, show you how I run an interview set like this. I can show you because I'm at my house. I got no pressure. It's my place, I'm in control. And then the second shoot of the day is gonna be up north about an hour. We're taking a drive up there for one of my retainer clients. Got 4 automotive videos to film. So big day of filming, but I've got to cram a lot into this time frame because last week I was on a vacation with my in-laws in Puerto Rico for an entire week. So really didn't work at all, which is great and it was awesome and it's important to take that time off, but I'm really like, it's crunch time now. I got to get stuff done, got to get stuff filmed so I can take some time off with family for the holidays. So I'll take you along for the ride today and should be good. Peace. All right, so the very first thing I'm always doing when setting up for an interview is finding my frame. That means don't change anything about the environment. Grab your camera, put it on sticks, and figure out what direction you want to film, where you want to place your client. That's like super important. Just don't worry about lighting yet. Just find what you want in the background. Find what looks good. So I'm going to do that right now. I think one of the most important things about this step is knowing that it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want the general area and direction that you're going to film. So for me, I already know that I want to film this way. I don't want to get the Christmas tree in the video, and I don't want to get my TV in the video, even though I really like this nice brown accent wall I have here, which you guys can't see, so I'll show you. Check this out. So right here we got this nice brown accent wall, but it's kind of messy. I don't really want to like move my whole TV and everything. So the plan is, for now at least, let me set this back up. The plan is to film this way, maybe pull the curtains if I need to, close those barn doors, and the couch kind of softens things up in the background, but we're gonna go really blurry on the background and make things look real good. So that's what we got for now. Rough idea of the direction we wanna film. Now, let's place our client. So I'm just gonna grab a chair from over here. Don't even worry about it. I've just got a little metal chair, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. I'm just gonna place him here. I'm gonna give him some depth on the background. We want him spaced away from the background. If you put this chair like right against the couch or right against a wall that you're filming on, you're not gonna get any depth of field. You're gonna have no blur on your background. Your subject isn't gonna stand out as well. And it's gonna look like an amateur interview. So give yourself space, give yourself depth. Even if you need to put the client like right at the camera because your camera's against a wall, give yourself depth and play with the angles. So I think for this, I'm gonna place my client right about here, and he is direct to camera on this A cam. We're gonna have a 2-camera setup. He's direct to camera. He's talking to the client. The client is talking to the customers. He's speaking direct to camera. So this is looking about good for me, and I'll get some adjustments going. All right, so now I've got things set up. This is really rough. I've pretty much figured out my camera placement, my subject placement, and the focal length I want to film at, but the lighting is terrible. Like I'll throw a clip in of me right here, filmed from the camera. It doesn't look good. So that's the next step, is to throw lighting up and then come back and readjust things. So let's do that right now. All right, so we're rocking with an impact air cushion light stand right now. Love these things. I'm just gonna set it up like that. And then for our key light, we're going with a little Ulanzi VL120C. These lights are like, I don't even know how I found them. They're not very common, not a lot of people use them, but they're awesome because they're very small. They actually have a lot of power for how small this light is. Fan noise is pretty quiet. Like if you're using it as a key far away from the subject, it's fine. And also this right here, V-mount plate built in. So you can directly just slap a V-mount on here and power it. It is so clutch for like filming outside. I'm not using a V-mount today. I'm just gonna power it off the wall because I have a plug right next to me. So why would I use a V-mount? But it's such a clutch light to have. Like if you do not have a light that you can power directly off V-mount in your kit, I don't know, I feel like you're missing a lot of opportunities, because I can go outside in the middle of the road and just throw a light up and light a scene, and it just is incredible. This is also full color, full RGB, so I can really do anything that I want with this light. So yeah, I'll get that set up. Okay, so the key light is set up, got the softbox on. Quick note on the softbox, it's an Angler quick open 36-inch. I think this is B&H's like in-house brand, the Angler brand of softboxes. I freaking love this softbox. It's so easy to set up and take down. It was super cheap. I think it was like 80 bucks or something like that. Maybe less, maybe a little more, can't remember. But a good rule of thumb for softboxes, the bigger, the softer. So 36 inches is a good happy medium. It's not too big to pack up, but it's also big enough to create pretty soft light. Yeah, the bigger the softbox, the softer the light gets. So that's a good rule of thumb. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just checking lighting. I've got my iPad pulled up with monitor and control, the Sony app, and I am just sitting here and I'm looking, if you can even see that, at the frame and kind of like looking at the composition, looking at the lighting and figuring things out. A quick rule of thumb for color temperature and Kelvin between your main cameras and your key light is your camera temperature should be set to the same Kelvin as your light. So this light is at 5600 Kelvin or daylight right now. My camera is also set at that. And you can play around with that, but that's a good rule of thumb. So just off the bat, I'm gonna show you a quick clip of what this is looking like with that light added in and no other tweaks and adjustments. Okay, so now that we have the light set up, talked about the specs, things like that, we're gonna talk about light positioning and shaping of the light. So if I'm standing here operating the camera, and I look at the subject, I can see that there are windows on the left-hand side of the subject. So this goes into motivating your lighting or making the light feel like it's being lit naturally. You want things to look natural, to look, you know, real and not out of place. So I have the key light on the left-hand side of the subject because the big windows in the frame are on the left-hand side of the subject. So even though the windows aren't primarily lighting our subject, putting the light on the same side as the windows in the frame helps it look like the windows are lighting the subject. So that's a quick snippet on motivated lighting. It's really important. It's a good rule of thumb to follow. Of course, you can break rules, but it's a good place to start. It helps you know what to do when you show up on a location. Now we're gonna start shaping the light. I already know that it's an overcast day, so we're not gonna get a bunch of light shifting. If it was a sunny day or like a partly cloudy day where there might be full sunlight and then a cloud goes over the sun and covers the sun, then I would be closing all of these blinds and shutting off the light and lighting like this so we could have a consistent interview light. But I really like this window right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's pretty big, but it actually is doing a lot in terms of bringing in soft light on the right side of the subject. And we want to keep this background pretty light. So I do want to keep that open. As for this window, I want to create kind of a soft feel. I'm going to pull some of this curtain over just a little bit so we can see it in the frame. What that's going to do is just add some visual interest in the back and also just help shape the light. This light right here is going to provide kind of a hair light or an etch light for our subject to kind of help him stand out from the background. And of course, the Christmas tree, it looks awesome, but we don't want these tungsten LEDs interfering with our nice daylight light, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. So now that the tree's off, we're gonna go around and flip off all the other lights that are gonna kind of pollute the light coming from the windows and from the key light. Okay, now that we've done some adjustments, here's the frame that we're looking at. So it looks good, right? I think, honestly, in my opinion, this curtain is too far to the left, so I'm gonna go ahead and push it back. And using the monitor and control app on your iPad or a phone is so helpful when you're doing this because you can just real time stand here and look at things and go, I like that or I don't like that. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to take a seat and see how it looks with those changes. All right, so we've got most of the things set up that we need. We've shaped the light in the background. We've just kind of cleaned up the background, made it look nice. Now we're gonna dial in our camera settings and the lighting at the same time. So I know I want a blurry background. We're at f2.8. We're at 24 frames per second, and we'll adjust the ND and the ISO as needed. So I'm just gonna hop up here onto the camera, filming in S-Log3, so exposing for S-Log3 is very important. Just gonna go ahead, yep, 24 frames per second. It's a little dark, so I'm gonna bump up to that second highest base ISO and then apply some ND. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, even with just a few settings. One thing I do notice in this image though, is that the highlights in the window are clipping. So one thing you can do to combat this is to add a little bit more ND. So we'll do that. Bring back some of those highlights. So that looks good, but now my skin is a little too dark. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bump up the power on the light. It's at 46% right now. We're gonna hop up to, I don't know, 55 or so. Awesome, so with those changes, I'm honestly really happy with the image. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add in our audio solution. We're gonna boom over a mic, and we're also gonna add in our B cam and second angle. Let's do it. All right, so here's my audio solution. Kind of janky, but it works really well. It's my Rode Wireless Go 2. I think that's what it's called. Rode Shotgun mic, that's what I have. And then I have the transmitter of one of my Hollyland Lark Max 2s right here with the 3.5 jack connection. So what I do is I just clip it on like that. Then I run my cable and I just plug in the Lark Max 2. This looks terrible. I usually do it better, but it's working. And then I'll go ahead and come up to my C-stand right here. And we have some threads on the end. I actually got the wrong side of the C-stand, so I'm gonna flip the C-stand around. Just like that. I'll take my mic and I'll just thread that right on to the C-stand. I don't need a boom pole for this setup, it's close. Also don't have one currently. So I'm working with what I got here, and you can do a lot with what you got. So I'm just gonna position the C-stand, make sure it's out of frame. I'm looking at my iPad down here. I don't think you guys can see it. But just positioning this mic in the right spot. We're gonna go ahead and raise the mic up until it is just out of frame. Just like that, no longer in frame. Since we're inside, we don't need the windscreen, so I'll just pull that off. All right, so we just set up the mic on the C-stand, got it boomed over, it's out of frame, no one can see it, perfect. Here are some tips on mic placement. You want the mic as close as possible to your subject without obviously getting in frame, because the whole magic of this setup is that it sounds great, but you don't see the mic, so it's invisible. So this is about as close as I can get the mic with it being out of frame. And as far as direction of the mic, you want it pointed at their chest. So you'd think that they're speaking out of their mouth, so you want to point the mic right at their mouth. But what happens a lot of the time is when you get people in interviews, they move around, they lean forward like this. And as soon as you're doing this and your forehead is over the mic, the sound quality drops a lot. So placing it at the chest gives you some good room for movement, but it also has a really good sound. I actually think it sounds deeper and more full when you point at the chest, because that's where, I feel like that's where your voice kind of reverberates through your chest. So placing the mic like this is ideal and perfect. Make sure it's out of frame, make sure it's pointed at the chest, and don't be afraid to adjust it when your subject shows up. Like, my client is shorter than me, so I may be adjusting this mic. So just go through, set it up as good as you can for now, and do checks when your client arrives. Oh, and don't forget to do a mic check and actually check the volume levels when your client gets here. Nothing's worse than starting an interview with a dead mic. And also, if you can, put a backup source audio on him. So throw a lav on him and hide it, wire it, stick it to his chest, hide it in their clothes. I'm not gonna be doing that today because I'm obviously running my lavs, but I would do that if I were you. I'm gonna be monitoring this audio the entire time. So check your levels, monitor the audio, have a backup option, and you'll be golden. We're almost done setting up. Client's gonna be here in like 15 minutes. So we're breaking out the B cam, second angle for this interview. Got the FX30, super good B cam. I freaking love this little camera. So I am just gonna go ahead and drop it down to the level that our A camera is at, which is right about there. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna set it up off to the side. And this one is gonna be a really tight angle. Obviously it's gonna need some adjustments. All right, so now we've got a battery in the FX30, we've got it placed, and notice how it's not really at much of a different angle than our A cam, the FX3. Really, the biggest difference with this B cam angle is that it's a lot tighter. It's a lot closer on my face. And when I'm speaking direct to camera, like I would be here, this angle is gonna look completely different because one, it's a tighter focal length, but two, it's off to the side. And one thing with your B cams is you always wanna place them shadow side. Like for example, if I were just shooting a documentary interview and I was speaking to the interviewee right here, and I was looking at him like this, my camera would always be on the shadow side. So we get a pattern of shadow, light, background, shadows, light, and that just creates more depth. So when I set up my B cam, first of all, my light's in the way over here. And second of all, if I placed my B cam over here, it would look flat. You would just shoot straight onto the light side of my face. So always place your cameras on the shadow side of your face, unless you're going direct to camera like I am in this case, and it will look so much better. It will just elevate the quality of your cinematography a ton in your interview setups. So now that I've got this kind of set up, I'm gonna dial it in. It doesn't look right. I mean, I'm focused on my chest and my mouth, as you can tell. So gonna dial that in, and then we really should be ready to go. So keep you updated. Another thing I forgot to mention is you're gonna wanna match the settings as closely as you can between these two cameras. For example, the white balance is off on this camera. So I'm just gonna go in, fix that really quick. Yeah, see, we're at 4,300 Kelvin. The FX3 is at 56, so they look completely different. There we go, just fixed that. Gonna account for that background a little bit. All right, let's take a look at how that looks now. Oh yeah, that's a whole lot better. Perfect. Okay, so now that I've got my two angles set up, I like it, but honestly for me, there's a little bit too much shadow on the shadow side of my face. So I'm gonna rotate my light around a little bit, and I may even drop my, my grid, my eggshell grid that I have here on the light to provide a little bit more spill of the light throughout the room. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drop my eggshell crate. Another hack for this is you don't have to take it all the way off. You can just pull it down to the bottom like that and works great. I'm gonna just rotate it around a little bit more. Yeah, that provided a lot more light in the background actually. It's crazy like what just doing that can do. That's why it's important to be at home and experiment with things. All right, I'm liking the look of that, honestly. It's a little too bright now. So this is where like just playing with your settings is just gonna be your best friend at the end of the day. Like you never know until you try. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Drop the ISO and drop the VND. That looks great. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really liking that, honestly. I think I do need a little bit of fill on this side. Okay, yeah, so I do need a little bit of fill on this side. I want this interview to feel a little like brighter and happier. It is a builder. People like their homes bright. So that's one thing to take into consideration is that like, depending on the mood of the video you're doing, it changes the lighting a lot. Like if you're talking about a documentary where it's an athlete who experienced some hard times, maybe an injury or an illness, and they were working through this struggle to come back stronger, then a dark, moody interview would suit your needs perfectly. For this, it's more of a corporate style. The more corporate your work gets, typically the brighter it should be, and the more like clinical, I guess I should say. But yeah, I think this is a little too moody for this project, so I'm gonna go grab my other light, throw it up on my other C-stand, and then we should be about ready to go. But it's looking great. I love setting up stuff at home because I learn a lot and I get to experience new things. So, all right, let's throw up this second light. All right, so we've got the final setup done, ready to go. Client is almost here, but I wanted to walk you guys around and show you. So A and B cam going, that's where the client sits. Obviously you saw all of this already. Two things I just added to spice it up. One is another background light. I have a Amaran 100D right here. It's on the ground. I couldn't find my other light stand, and I really just needed just some fill back here to brighten it up. Wasn't a big deal, so I just threw it on the ground. Second thing is I mentioned having some fill light on the shadow side of my subject's face, especially on this Bcam FX30 right here. So I just added a little reflector. What it's doing is just bouncing light from the key light from the windows over here and just putting it onto the shadow side of my subject's face, so it just looks a little brighter, brings the exposure levels up. But yeah, that's the setup. And he's gonna be here in a few minutes. We'll talk about the script, we'll run him through. We'll get our audio set up, make sure the levels are good, and we'll get to interviewing. But yeah, that's a basic interview setup, and may or may not put more stuff in this video. But anyways, hope you enjoyed.